know where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfare.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by betonline.ag. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey everybody, Happy New Year and welcome to the first post-game Chiefs Concerns episode of the 2023. We hope everyone had a nice New Year's Eve last night, and obviously the Chiefs won today, so everyone should at least have had a decent New Year's Day. Lance, how you doing, buddy?
Happy New Year, Marcus. I feel good. I would have felt a lot better if that game would have went the way I was expecting it to, but we talk about it all the time, man, that even though it might be an unnecessarily stressful game, the Chiefs find a way to pull these games out far more times than they don't. But we're here to discuss it, man. We're here to break it down. I'm excited to be here with you, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And our guy, JD, may be joining us. He's in the mountains right now with his family, enjoying New Year's with his family. So this signal's spotty, so he may or may not be joining us. But either way, Lance and I will be here to break it down for you guys, some of the big things from this episode, from this game. And I got to say, man, I know all year we talk about Chief fans. Chris Jones is a household name for us, but he's not really a nationally known guy. You know, people talk about Defensive Player of the Year, they talk about Parsons, they talk about Bosa. But Chris Jones doesn't really get all that pub out there. And I got to say today, man, he really showed why he should be a consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. And, I mean, that end of that game, he pretty put the team on his back. I mean, offense, I don't know. Mahomes looked kind of off the whole game today. His footwork, his mechanics looked off, and he even said in the postgame he didn't feel right. He was making throws off his wrong foot. Just didn't look right at all. Well, Chris Jones, man, doing what he did to Russ and they just got kind of dominating that O-line and, you know, getting a sack, getting pressure. I think Chase Edmonds almost had that first down at the end of the game that would have continued the game. Chris Jones was there to make that tackle. So what did you make of Chris Jones today and his performance in helping us get that 15th straight victory over Denver going back to 2015?
Yeah, I was really impressed with what Chris Jones did. I think what's happening is that Chris Jones gets overlooked because there are guys, I think in today's NFL especially, and honestly I think it's been a historic thing where edge rushers, they tend to get the glitz and the glam. They tend to get the attention because they end up having the sack totals. And obviously we know that sacks are a lot like, you know, home runs in baseball, where that's the number we always look at about how good a player is. Now, Chris Jones is always going to get his sacks. I think he averages around 8.5, 9 per season in his career, which is really good, especially considering his position and how he's had multiple defensive schemes he's played under in Bob Sutton and Steve Spagnuolo's. He's never really slowed down. He's always been an effective player. But the difference between this year and really any season outside of his 2016 season or 2017 season is the fact that Chris Jones is doing things at a higher level that aren't just in the stat column. You're seeing him, I think last week he had a season-high 9 pressures. Today I think he had 6. I mean, he's doing things. He's disrupting the quarterback play in far more ways than just getting sacks. Now, we want to see this team get sacks. I think they're 4th in the league in sacks as a team, and Chris Jones is headlining that. But you're seeing Chris Jones making the job for the guys around him that much easier each and every week by going and getting the focus, because we know that offensive lines are always going to pay attention to where Chris Jones is. Where's 95? That's the guy we got to target. That's the guy we got to make sure to neutralize. He's taking even more focus, if that makes sense, to where guys like George Karlaftis can now have 5 sacks in his last 6 games. Carlos Dunlap, an aging veteran that was almost forgotten going into this year, is playing out of his mind right now. Mike Dana being an effective player. Colin Saunders, Brandon Williams, all these guys are making plays. I mean, shit, man. Colin Saunders got a free release because Nick Bolton and Chris Jones were crashing in the middle of the field. And Colin Saunders, who's like Warren Sapp out there with the 99 jersey, is getting a free release to Russell Wilson. That's credit to what Chris Jones is doing, man. So he's playing at his absolute peak right now. And I just can't put it into words. I know he's not, like I said, he's not going to get the looks of Micah Parsons and Von Miller and TJ Watt and all these other big-time names, Nick Bosa, because those guys are going to put up numbers in the sack column that are bigger than Chris Jones. But he's just as valuable as all those guys.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could go and say that we wouldn't have 13 wins without him. We'd be a good 9 or 10 win team without him this year. And there's a guy on offense too that I pulled out 4 things from this game that stood out to me. There's a guy on offense, and I think we didn't have this guy. We'd be an 8 or 9 win team this year offensively. So yeah, you made all the great points about Chris Jones. I think if he played on a team like Dallas or New York, we'd be hearing more about him. But because he plays on Kansas City, we don't hear enough about Chris. And I think you go through a lot of guys in our history. I think there's a lot of guys who get more pub if they play for other teams outside of Kansas City. So big thing we talked about pretty much every episode on our regular Chief Concerns show and on the postgame show is the special teams blunders. And they continued again this week. You got the missed field goal, you missed PAT, which, the Dustin Colquitt, Tommy Townsend drama. Colquitt called out Tommy's holds. Now, today's, you could argue it was the holds on Tommy, or the blocking was atrocious too on the play where the kick before halftime that got tipped. It looked like so I don't think it was a hold necessarily, but that special teams too. The blocking looked atrocious. And then Kadarius Toney not muffing a punt, but fumbling the punt return. It's just like every week there's a new thing to point at for the special teams, and it's like and we've had teams like this in the past where the teams who are awful on special teams, those are the teams that don't even make the playoffs. Those are 5-11, 5-12, 4-13 type teams. And we're a good team, and we're having these special teams issues. And it's like, what's going on? I mean, what is it? Every week we try to figure out what it is on special teams, but what is it? What do you think, Lance? Because every week it's something else.
Look, I think considering the fact that the Chiefs have had so much influx with their roster this offseason, I think the defense has around 5 or 6 guys starting that are rookies or young players. The offense has a lot of young guys that are playing big roles. Special teams, same thing. The difference is you're seeing the adjustments being made on both the offense and defensive side, because that's praise to the coaching. You see Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo make the necessary adjustments, and their defense and their offense plays better because of it. So this is going to come down to me, to Dave Toub. What's he doing? What changes are he making? I know that our guy JD has said multiple times on the show that when there are blunders on special teams and they're continuous, you have to make changes. Okay, well, the Chiefs are running out of players to interchange or to change out in those positions. So what is the coaching staff doing to get these guys in a better mindset? Because at this point, the Chiefs don't really have many more choices. Kadarius Toney, at this time without McCole Hardman, it would be the most reliable asset back there, and he's putting the ball on the ground. And it's to me, honestly, Marcus, the punt returning stuff is not even my biggest concern right now. My biggest concern when it comes to special teams is what you mentioned first and foremost, is that Butker and these guys still can't. They continue to leave points on the board, even when Butker hasn't been there. We look back at the Colts game. I remember how difficult of a game that was for us to talk about on this show, when the Chiefs left several points on the board, man, multiple missed field goals, multiple PATs, just blunder after blunder, and they lose that game by 3 points to a team they had no business losing to. This is the same type of game today, and the Chiefs found a way to pull it out, granted, but they left 4 damn points on the board, man, and that doesn't even include Kadarius Toney putting the Broncos within the 20-yard line. In the very next play, Russell Wilson turns the clock back 7 years. He rushes the ball in for his first of his 2 touchdowns, and it's an unnecessarily close game because of special teams blunders. We talk about how the 3 phases matter so much, and honestly, equally. Because the offense could have been great today, defense could have been great today, but if the special teams puts the ball on the ground and they keep missing kicks, the Chiefs can still lose games. And as you're getting closer to the postseason, this is not something you can afford to be dealing with. And when it's a season-long problem, like I said, dating back to week 2, week 3, the Chiefs are dealing with this all the way to now, this is something that we should legitimately be concerned about. I'm not saying that the Chiefs are going to lose because of it, but if it does happen, would it honestly shock any of us? Because it would not shock me at all, man. Leaving points on the board against a Joe Burrow or a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson or even a Justin Herbert cannot happen, man, because those guys will make you pay.
Yeah, because I mean, you forget about obviously the turnovers. That's awful. In our -5 going into this game today, and I think we came out. We had 2 turnovers. They had 2 turnovers, so still a -5. You talk about just the turnovers aspect, but then you talk about the leading the points in the field. It's like we're going to be competing with Buffalo, Cincinnati, the teams that we can't afford to. We can't afford to have drive stall out and go for field goals anyway. But if we are going to have that happen, let's make our kicks. And you talk about the missing PATs. That hurts us more than anything else. We go to a shootout with Burrow or Josh Allen. We're getting 6. They're getting 7. That's going to bite us in the ass. But the special teams aspect, every week people want to talk about play calling being shitty. They want to talk about defense spags and not being able to ring up a good enough defense against these other teams we're playing. But then it's just special teams that I think consistently throughout this year it's just been atrocious. And actually, you go starting back with the Indianapolis game, which was our first post-game show we had together. That was the first game where it was like, yep, special teams is going to be an issue this year. Yep. Rough. Okay, so the other topic, and if you look at the last, I believe, 5 games, this guy has 7 touchdowns for us. And at times, you look at our offense, and it's so just like bread. It just looks atrocious. But then we get him the ball, and we start getting things happening. You got a spark of a 12-yard run or a spark of a 20-yard catch. Where today's, for example, McKinnon. He had that one catch downfield where he had like the 2 spin moves. He had a little juke. I made a tweet about it. It looked like you're playing Xbox. You press B. You're shifting the analog stick to the left. I mean, McKinnon has been so special to us, and I think if you take away Jerrick McKinnon from our team this year, we're not a 13-win team. I mean, he's helped us so much that like him and Pat probably the most, and Kelce obviously, but those 3. Without McKinnon, I don't think we're a 13-win team this year. And on top of that, Jerrick McKinnon's playing the way I thought CH was going to be for us. And I tweeted that out earlier. McKinnon is everything we thought CH would be. That receiver out of the backfield. That kind of the explosive type of guy that we saw at LSU. We haven't seen it in the NFL. And that's what Jerrick McKinnon's been. Do you agree that this team would be a 13-win team if we didn't have Jerrick McKinnon this year?
No, I don't, because the Chiefs are winning games a lot of times because of what McKinnon's doing for the team. I mean, look at just the 2 Broncos games. The Chiefs won the first game by 6, and they won the second game by 3. In both games, Jerrick McKinnon scored multiple touchdowns. So he is the one that is making the ultimate difference. Because no offense to Travis Kelce, he's a Hall of Famer. He's the greatest tight end who's ever lived, and he is obviously the number 1 option for this team. But outside of Jerrick McKinnon, there has not been a single guy that has been more consistently deadly for this team over the last month. He's just not there. JuJu's not effective enough. MVS can't catch passes, and when he's open, Patrick, for whatever reason, can't hit him. McColl's been out for 8-9 weeks. There's nobody else. Kadarius Toney has shown promises. He's showing life, but he's just now getting into the fold. Jerrick McKinnon's not been with his team for 2 years, man. We saw the late season surge that he had last year, but the man just set a record today for most consecutive games with a receiving touchdown for a running back in NFL history with 5 consecutive games. The man in the last month has 25 receptions for 256 yards and 7 touchdowns. 7. That's stupid. He has more receiving touchdowns this season than Tyreek Hill. This dude's the running back 3 for this team, and he's playing like an MVP on this team. He's Clutch McKinnon, man. That's why I gave him that name, because when this offense needs that juice, you saw in the third quarter, they come out 3 consecutive 3-and-outs. They don't run the ball, but that can be a discussion for another time. Jerrick McKinnon makes plays when they need him the most. Isiah Pacheco is obviously running back 1. The dude will get those dirty 4 or 5 yard rushes whenever the Chiefs give him opportunities to. I digress. But Jerrick McKinnon is doing something in the pass game that the Chiefs have absolutely needed, more so than ever because of the fact that you lose the dynamics of Tyreek Hill. That's the one area, that's the one spot the Chiefs have to continuously miss Tyreek Hill. But when you're getting plays out of the backfield like this from Jerrick McKinnon, It doesn't matter who else you have out there, man. As long as he's healthy and as long as he's doing what they're doing, guys, this offense will continually score points in big moments because he continues to extend drives and make big plays in big stretches in big games.
And he's probably one of our most consistent pass catchers, to be quite honest with you. When we throw to him, it's an automatic catch most of the time.
Yes.
So you mentioned Pacheco, and this game, a lot of ways, the special teams was awful. You had the missed field goals. Pat didn't look right. And with Pat not looking right, we still wanted to prove a point, I guess, with Pat today. I don't know what it was. I think we wanted to get him to 5,000 yards. I don't know what it was, but this today seemed like there was a refusal to run the ball. And like you look at the numbers, and honestly, as you're watching the game, it's like run the ball. That last drive before we got that final stop on Denver, we passed it twice, and I'm like, second down, we passed. Incomplete pass. Third down, we passed. Incomplete pass. It's like we're not even trying to run the ball. It's like kill clock here. What's going on? I don't understand what's going on. And then you look at the numbers after getting the box score: 42 passing attempts, 16 total carries for the team. Pacheco 9 carries. What's going on? I mean, what is it? I mean, were we trying to prove a point and have Pat get those 5,000 yards? What was it? Why aren't we running the ball? I mean, I know that's the Andy Reid's MO, but I feel like today specifically, passing game did not look good. But yet we still continue to throw the ball 42 times, and we only ran the ball with our bell cow 9 times. Come on.
Yeah. Well, when you're a head coach, I try to put myself in the position of Andy Reid, and if I was a head coach for 17, 18 years. And I had to make the most out of Alex Smith, Donovan McNabb, Jeff Garcia, Kevin Cobb, all these other guys. I have to rely on my run game a lot more times. But he was still known notoriously as a pass-heavy schemer, as a head coach and as a play caller. So now when he finally has not only the best quarterback he's ever had in his career as a head coach, but the best quarterback we've ever seen play football, I can understand why you want to get pass-happy. Why you want to just throw the ball, because Patrick is just so special, and every single week he continues to show us just he can make plays no one else in the history of football can make. Having said that, though, when you get so pass happy, even for a great like Patrick Mahomes, you're putting that much more pressure on him to have to be great, to have to be special, that when he goes in these little slumps like everybody does, where you have a couple 3 and outs and he's not special every single drive, it puts that much more emphasis. Oh, well, the defense has to save them now because we're not getting the running game in rhythm. I was talking to Clay Windler from Red Trap Cinema. He was saying something. He was like, well, the run game's only getting like 3.5 yards a carry today. Yes, but when you're only running the ball 12 times outside of Patrick's 4 scrambles, you're not giving him an opportunity to succeed, because we know how this game goes. You can run the ball 12, 15 times, and on that 16th rush, you get a 50, 60-yard rush, and it breaks everything open. That's what this offense needs, is giving Pacheco and McKinnon and whoever runs the rock, even Rojo, giving these guys multiple opportunities to bring balance to this offense, because that's all you need. The Chiefs don't need an offense that's going to rush for 160 yards a game. They're not the Browns. They're not the Eagles. They're not teams that are going to rely on the run game. But if you have a balanced attack, you're going to make life very difficult for defenses like the Bengals, who have beaten the Chiefs 3 straight times in 1 calendar year. The Bengals drop 8. Because they don't believe the Chiefs are going to run the ball on them. They're literally begging the Chiefs to run the damn ball on them. So what do? Run the damn ball. I know that today it's fitting because the game deciding play was Patrick rolling out and throwing that first down to Travis Kelce. And I was saying just run the ball, run the clock down, make the Broncos use all their timeouts. And it worked. But here's the thing, man. What set that play up? 2 running plays that got them in short distance. That was giving them the ability to get that ball to Travis Kelce. That's my point. We obviously know this team is only going to go as far as Patrick Mahomes takes them. We know this. We've addressed this. He's a $500 million quarterback, and the best quarterback in football is about to win a 2nd MVP. Yep. But you have to have a balanced attack, because if you don't do that, the Bengals are going to continue to do that. And if, in fact, the Chiefs face them in the AFC Championship or even earlier, you know the Bengals are going to bring that recipe again. They're going to say, all right, we're dropping 8. Let's see what you guys do. Let's see if you guys will finally get the hint and run the damn ball. That's my only hope, man, because if they don't do it, man, we could be seeing a 4th consecutive loss to a team like the Bengals, and none of us want to see that happen.
No, especially their fan base online. They're awful. I will say so. We'll get to Cincinnati in a second, actually. But 10. So we had 10 different pass catchers today catch a ball. Blake Bell, welcome back. It was good to see Blake Bell back out there. It looks like he's put on some weight. Yeah, I think he's been. I don't think he's been on the field working out much. I think he's put on some pounds, but he looked good nonetheless. I gotta say, there was this series where he threw the interception in the red zone, and we talk about a weird not trying to run the ball. We didn't run the ball once. He had that one rollout where he almost got to JuJu. He kind of he slung it to him, and it was a little bit outside of JuJu's grasp. And then he does the same kind of thing. He rolls out again and just throws it in there, and then it looked like it was Justin Watson, and that's when they had the interception. It was like we didn't run once there. We went right to pass mode. I don't get that. I think sometimes. And I'm not saying to knock Pat or Andy. I just think we know what we have, and we like to have fun with what we have. It's like we know we have the best quarterback in the league. We like to throw him out there and let's try to let him throw another touchdown. And sometimes it's just run the ball. It's that simple. Run the ball gets 3 or 4 yards closer, then take a shot and do something. Do something cute with one of our tight ends. But 13-3, not going to be sad about it. Not at all. Okay, tomorrow night, big game. We got. I will say, I think tomorrow's slate of college games and the Monday night game, I think it's a better slate of games than what we saw today, to be quite honest with you. Although 4 o'clock games are actually not bad. So Cincinnati is hosting Buffalo. It looks like they're a 1-point underdog tomorrow. We have a big dog in this fight. Cincinnati wins. We get the 1 seed. We get the bye. I'm happy that we go play Las Vegas next week. Done. If you win that game, over. Tomorrow night, what are the keys to victory? And who do you have winning that game tomorrow night? Cincinnati, Buffalo.
Yeah, the keys to the victory for the Bengals. It's simple, man. I think they need to force the Bills to run the ball. I think that Josh Allen's going to want to make a statement in this game. I think that Josh Allen's going to go out there and want to throw the ball a lot to Stephon Diggs because this is the biggest game of the season for both of these franchises. And I think what's going to happen. Sorry, get on my car here. I think what's going to happen in this game.
I can't hear you, buddy. Yo, Lance, I can't hear you, bud. Lance.
I think it's going to go over 50 points. Can you hear me? I'm sorry, I'm having a malfunction here.
Yeah, no, I can't hear you at all, buddy.
I'm sorry, hold on.
You're good. Technical difficulties, people. I think Lance is figuring it out. All right. As you wait for Lance, I gotta say, I took Cincinnati. I took Cincinnati money line in my parlay for the weekend, so I think they should win at home. 1 point. I don't know. Lance, you still there, buddy? You there?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
you
can
sound
you hear
cold. Yep.
Awesome.
So, who do you have in the game tomorrow
like
night?
I don't know. Yeah, no, go ahead. I know you had your take on the Bengals Bills.
No, I was saying I think it's crazy too because you had 2 fan bases who probably I think every Chiefs fan on here knows that you get flooded with these tweets from these Bengals fans and Bills fans all season long. And now we're in a predicament where we actually have to root for Cincinnati tomorrow. We actually have a dog in the fight. I think it's a pick 'em. I think it's the second highest total point game for the weekend. I like Cincinnati to win this game. I just think Buffalo has not looked sharp, and obviously we're speaking from Chiefs fans. We haven't looked sharp the last month. Even that the 2-score game against Seattle last week, we didn't look good. We haven't looked good in quite a while actually, but we're winning. So Buffalo has not looked good. Cincinnati, they've had some battles, but that's a resilient team, and we know playing in Cincinnati, it's a tough place to play. I'll take the home team tomorrow with the 1 point, with the 1 point they're giving me at home for Cincinnati. But what do you got tomorrow?
Yeah, so this game, this line pisses me off, and I'm not even a Bengals fan. The Bills are coming into this game as a 1 point favorite on the road. Mm-hmm. They have the over/under thing at 49.5.
Yep.
Here's what I don't understand: the Bengals have been the better team over the last 2 months than the Bills have been. The Bengals have won 9 out of 10 in 7 straight. And Joe Burrow, outside of Patrick Mahomes, has been the MVP in the NFL. I know that Jalen Hurts, all that talk has been great, and Jalen Hurts has been awesome this year. This is his second straight week he's missed, and Joe Burrow has been the one consistent piece for the Bengals all season long. They've had issues in the offensive line. They've had Joe Mixon out. They've had T. Higgins and Jamar Chase miss time. They've had their defense banged up. And yet Joe Burrow continues to lead this team, and he's in the top 5 in just about every statistical category. And if I'm not mistaken, he's on pace to break the single-season completion percentage record over Drew Brees.
Wow.
So he's been unbelievable this year. And they're at home with everything to play for, because if they win that game, and by some strange coincidence the Chiefs happen to fall to the Raiders next week, the Bengals have the 1 seed in the AFC. So there's everything to play for in this one. Quite frankly, Joe Burrow's got everything to play for, because he has the bragging rights of saying, I beat Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen in the regular season. I'm coming in with the advantage on both these guys in the postseason. And more than likely, if I get this victory, there's a good chance both these guys have to come see me in the postseason. So, yeah, man, the Bengals have all the momentum in this game. And to be honest with you, man, Josh Allen has not been good for about 8-9 weeks now. He had a really good fourth quarter against the Dolphins that last game, but the Dolphins should have won that game in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And Josh Allen is 30th in completion percentage. He leads the league in turnovers. I think he's a 28th in quarterback rating. He over the last since the Chiefs game in Week 6. So he's been playing a lot of hero ball, and it's been fun to watch, because as a football consumer, it's so cool to see this guy, this freak athlete, just running all over defenses when they have to do it. Yeah. But the Bengals are the type of defense that can stifle that out and force you to play a different style, especially in the second half. Their second half adjustments on defense are unprecedented. They are so smart, and they're studious at what they do. They see you do something in the first half, and they flip the script and they force you to do something else and add a dimension to your offense. The Bills don't have that added dimension. James Cook's been a solid running back, but do we have any certainty they can go in there and rush for over 120 yards in this game? Because I don't, and I think that's what it's going to take for you to beat the Bengals on the road. I think the Bengals can put up 27 to 30 points on the Bills defense, because I think this is going to be one of those games where we finally see them miss Von Miller, because they're going to miss Von Miller. Just a matter of when, not if. And I think this is one of those games, because this Bengals offense is absolutely loaded, a motivated team, Monday Night Football at home with everything to play for. Give me the Bengals, and I'm going to say I think they beat the Bills by 7+.
Yeah. I agree. I saw that line, and I was like, I mean, gosh, both teams really have a lot to play for here. I mean, we talk about it. We talked about on the show a couple weeks ago what's hard to play for, playing every week, knowing that if the team ahead of you slips up, then you can leapfrog them. That's been our kind of situation. Cincinnati can, whether they get the 1 seed or not, Cincinnati can win, and they at least get to the 2 spot. And if Buffalo has to play them, they got to travel to Cincinnati. And if, who knows, we lose to the Raiders next week. Jarrett Stidham looks pretty damn good right now at halftime. They could, we could potentially lose to the Raiders next week. I hope that's not the case. And Cincinnati gets the 1 spot. I mean, yeah, look, it's obviously we talk. If you look at the AFC, it's a 3-dog race to win the AFC between Buffalo, Cincy, and us. And any kind of edge helps. And I think in a regular season game, and if you look where the teams are trending, Cincinnati looks really good. And you mentioned all the stats there. They win. They get the home game on Monday night, and with primetime game, best game of the weekend by far. And they get the home field advantage tomorrow night. I think they win that game, and I think it's not even close. I think it is going to be like you said, that 7 to 10 point game. I don't think it's going to come down on the wire. I do think it'll be a fun offensive game though. So if you have any fantasy players in your fantasy championship this weekend, I think it's a great game to have those guys in. And okay, so I do want to ask you this. So Jarrett Stidham right now, I know you're not the biggest Derek Carr fan. Jarrett Stidham at halftime. The Raiders lead the Niners 17 to 14. Stidham 145 yards, 11 of 14 passing, 2 touchdowns. Thoughts on that? What does that tell you about Derek Carr?
Well, we might get another press conference with Derek Carr crying, and this time for a different reason. He's 100% gone out of Las Vegas. And there's a part of me that does feel bad for Derek Carr, because I do believe this guy is a true Raider. He really does love and embrace Raider Nation. He loves their fans. He really did want to be their quarterback to lead them to the grand of it all, the granddaddy of them all, which is the Super Bowl. The problem, though, man, is that Derek Carr oftentimes gets in his own way. He overthinks plays. He runs into sacks. He throws horrendous interceptions a lot of times. Good quarterback, top 12, 15 quarterback. He's in the same tier of like a Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, one of those really good guys that you can win 9 to 12 games with on a really good team, but they're just never going to lead you to a Super Bowl. But here's the thing about Derek Carr. Because of the scarcity at quarterback in this league, because of the fact there's teams just desperate to get somebody that's at his level, there's going to be somebody out there that's going to give him another massive deal. And we talked about on the Spoken podcast this week. I think there's some great suitors for Derek Carr. Teams that come to mind that I think are big time realistic spots are the Buccaneers, the Colts, and the Texans. I think those are the three teams you have to look at. Colts being
Texans. I don't know if he's gonna want to go to where his brother was playing.
I'm not saying he's gonna want to go there. I'm saying teams are gonna want to pay him big money to bring him in because he's from the Houston area. His brother played there. There's a legacy aspect to it. They're going to pay him. They can pay him a ton of money if that's what he's looking for. Because we really don't know what Derek Carr is looking for in this offseason. If he wants to win, yeah, you got to stay the hell away from Houston. But if he's wanting to go back home towards that area, play for a legacy, his brother played there once, get a ton of money, that's a team to look at. And maybe the Texans don't feel good about any of these quarterbacks coming out of the draft. Maybe that's the case. But I think the Colts and Buccaneers are teams to look out for because Tom Brady's gone. And I think that they're going to look for somebody to just kind of like gloss over this situation, go and get a guy that can play capable football with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Very winnable division, very, very winnable division. And the Colts make a ton of sense. Dome team, good defense, decent weapons. Jonathan Taylor out of the backfield with a good offensive line. There's a chance that a good head coach might take over. There's always rumblings about Sean Payton. I know the Saints, they want a first-round pick out of letting Sean Payton's rights go with their coaching rights that they have over him. Maybe they would want to push him over to the AFC side of things. There's a lot of opportunities for Derek Carr, man, but I think those are the three teams that come off the top of my brain that I think are realistic scenarios for him.
Yeah, I mean, as for a Chiefs fan, and I know this week I saw you retweeted the tweet we had 3-14 against the Raiders, dating back to when he first started with the Raiders, and it's gonna be sad. It's an Evan era. It's an Evan era of pretty much a guarantee every time he play the Raiders. And
yeah, I'm gonna really miss whooping his ass. That's gonna really suck.
I know. And the only 3 wins he had against us, they never beat us by more than a possession. It was 1, 4, and 8. There's the 3 margins of victory he had against us. But well, and I do think, and I think our guy Brian here says the Jets. I can see the Jets. I mean, they look decent with Mike White. I can see the Commanders as well being another team, a team that's got a good defense, has decent weapons. And I was reading earlier. I think they will probably trade him. I think Andrew Brandt had a whole thing about how they'll probably end up trading him. And he has to approve on where they're going to trade him. Because I mean,
that's gonna make it difficult, Marcus, because he has that no trade clause. I know why they're sitting him, because they have that $40 million safety spending that they can't afford to give that up. So they're not gonna let him this year. I get it. My point though is that there's a good chance they're gonna have to end up releasing him, which is gonna open up his market, because I don't know how many teams are gonna try to go out and just trade a bunch of picks to get Derek Carr, because that's what the Raiders are gonna ask for, because they're cash broke and they don't have a ton of draft picks. The thing about the Jets, real quick, and I know we gotta move on. I know that roster-wise it makes sense because they just need a good quarterback to win 11, 12 games and get in the playoffs. I get that. But I have a problem with Derek Carr, like picturing him handling the New York media. I just don't know if he can handle that, man. He just doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would be able to handle the excruciating pressure of New York media. And you know this better than I do, man. You're closer to that area than I am. And it's just heartless up there, man, from everything I know. The expectations, because a lot like Russell Wilson going to the Denver Broncos, if Derek Carr goes to a team like that's a quarterback away from being a legitimate contender, think about like how he's going to be viewed. It's going to be a savior aspect. It's going to be like, oh, he's the guy. He's going to change everything. The Jets are going to move up the Super Bowl odds. Like, I don't see Derek Carr being that kind of guy, man. I think he needs to go to a mild market on a good team with medium to low expectations and just see where it goes. I just don't see Derek being that kind of guy that can handle that kind of pressure.
Yeah. And that's why I think for me, I think number one landing spot would be the Commanders. That's a team that, look what they did with Alex Smith a few years back. Alex Smith was a shell of what he was when he came back from that injury. He led to the playoffs. They have a good defense. They have great weapons on that team.
And the Jack Del Rio connection. He's the defensive coordinator. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Oh, man. I mean, there's plenty of things there. So I could definitely see that. And Derek Carr's a good guy, regardless of how we feel about him. He's a solid guy. And I think that's an organization who could use a kind of new blood like that, bring a guy like that in. But regardless, it's an era. It'll be sad to not play him and get a win every year, 2 wins every year against them. But that does it for the post-game show. JD wasn't able to join us. JD's on vacation right now with his family, so I totally get it. But we'll see you for the Chief Concerns. We'll see you guys Thursday when our new episode drops. Of course, Lance, you can find him on the Spoken Podcast every Saturday. And we hope everyone had a really happy New Year's last night, and we hope 2023 gets started with everybody on a good note this week. So take it easy, everybody.
See you guys.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.